you this law?
No.
No, the Lord gave you this law. The Lord spake unto Moses and told Moses to go and speak unto the people and tell them this is what they must do if they sin to be forgiven them. Let's go now to Isaiah chapter 53, and we'll begin reading at verse 6. So now this animal, it was a sin offering. That is what it was. It was a sin offering. Start reading now at Isaiah chapter 53, and we're going to begin reading at verse 6. This is Jesus we're reading about here. And this is dealing with his crucifixion. Let's start reading at verse 6. Isaiah 53 and verse 6. Go ahead and read.
All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way.
Go ahead.
And the Lord have laid on him the iniquity of us all.
It's talking about Jesus. All the sins of the people was laid up on him. Go ahead and read on.
He was oppressed, and he was afflicted.
Go ahead.
Yet he opened not his mouth.
See what it says? He was oppressed and he was afflicted, and he did not open his mouth. Go ahead and read.
He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shears is dumb, so he openeth not his mouth.
Go ahead and read.
He was taken from prison and from judgment, and who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken.
So now he died for the sins of the people, just like the animal died for the sin. Why did they kill the animal in the first place? Because man sinned, right?
That's right.
So the animal died for the sin of man, right? Now here Jesus is, he's dying for the sins of man. Go ahead and read on.
And he made his grave with the wicked,
Go ahead.
and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth.
Go ahead.
Yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him.
Go ahead.
He had put him to grief.
Go ahead.
When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin.
Now once he died, then he became the sin offering. The animal was the sin offering, right? Now Jesus, he became the sin offering. Go ahead and read.
He shall see his seed.
Go ahead.
And he shall prolong his days.
Now he's going to see his seed and he's going to prolong his days. Meaning he's going to die, but yet he's going to be raised from the dead. That's how he will prolong his days. Now, let's go to Psalms chapter 40, and we'll begin reading at verse 6. So now once Jesus died, then you didn't need the animal anymore, because the animal was the sin offering. But now once Jesus died, then he became the sin offering. So therefore, you didn't need the animal anymore. Now, Paul said everything that he taught, he got it out of the law and the prophets, didn't he?
That's right.
Let's start reading here at Psalm chapter 40, and we're going to pick it up at verse 6. Psalm 40, and we'll begin reading at verse 6. 40 and 6. Okay, when you get it, go ahead and read. 40 and 6. Go ahead and read.
Sacrifice and offering thou didst not desire.
Now he said, but the Lord did desire. Then we just read when the Lord told Moses when the people sinned to tell them to go and offer up an animal.
Yep.
But this is prophecy here that we are reading about. It was for a time that was yet to come. But the Lord desired it for a while, didn't it? Because he told Moses, you go tell the people when they sin, come up with this animal, and then I'll forgive their sin. So the Lord desired it for a time, but this here is dealing with prophecy. What we are reading about here, it was for a time that was yet to come. He says, sacrifices and offering thou didst not desire. Go ahead and read.
My ears have thou opened.
Go ahead.
Burnt offering and sin offering hast thou not required.
Go ahead.
Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book to do, it is written of me.
Now he said, I come in the volume of the book, and we know this is not David, because David do not come in the volume of the book. But now this one that this is dealing with, he said, lo, I come in the volume of the book, but it is written of me. Go ahead and read on.
I delight to do thy will.
He said, I delight to do thy will, O God. Go ahead and read.
O my God, yea, thy law is within my heart.
And yea, thy law is even within my heart. He said, I delight to do my will. And Jesus did the Father's will. That is what he did, didn't he?
That's right.
When he came to die, first he tried to talk out of it. Then he finally said, Lord, not my will be done, but let thy will be done. Let's start reading here now at Hebrews chapter 10. We're going to begin reading at verse 1. Show you what Paul said. See, you got to lay the groundwork first. So then when you get over there and start reading the writings of Paul, you will understand what it is that you're reading about. But if you did not understand about the animal sacrifice law, then there's no way you're going to understand about this. See, you got to understand one thing sometime before you can understand another thing. Let's start reading here at Hebrews chapter 10, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Now, this is the writings of Paul here. This is what he said. He's going to let him tell his own story here instead of letting everybody else tell his story. Show you what he said. So they want to tell you how he said you ain't got to keep the law no more. Or he said that Jesus nailed the law to the cross. We're gonna let him tell his own story here instead of letting everybody else tell it. Let's start reading at Hebrews 10 and begin reading at verse 1. Go ahead and read.
For the law having a shadow of good things to come.
Now he said the law had a shadow of good things to come, and this is not talking about the moral law either, because it was not a shadow. It was the real deal. You understand what I'm telling you? Jesus himself told you want eternal life, then keep the commandments. You want to get in the kingdom, keep the commandments. This is dealing with that other law, the animal sacrifice law. Go ahead and read on.
And not the very image of the things,
Go ahead.
can never with those sacrifices which they offered year by year continually make the comers thereunto perfect.
Now there you have it. He's talking about the animal sacrifice law. Go ahead and read on.
For then will they not have ceased to be offered.
So now the animal sacrifice law, it was a shadow of good things to come. What was the good thing to come? That was Jesus. Go ahead and read on.
Because that the worshippers once purged should have had no more conscience of sins.
Go ahead.
But in those sacrifices there's a remembrance again made of sins every year.
Go ahead.
For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats should take away sins.
Yeah, the blood of bulls and goats, it couldn't get it done. So he said, now the blood of bulls and goats, it is not possible that they could take away sin. However, the Lord ordained that, didn't he?
Yeah.
And the reason that he ordained it is that it might be a schoolmaster until Jesus came. That is what it was for, getting you ready for the real thing. Go ahead and read on.
Wherefore, when he cometh into the world,
Now,
he said,
notice what he said. Wherefore, who is this he? Jesus. Wherefore, when he cometh into the world, this is what he said. Go ahead and read.
sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not.
Notice he didn't say the 10 thou would if not, did he? And he didn't say the dietary law thou would if not. And neither did he say the high days thou would if not. But he said sacrifices and offering thou would if not. So now what time was this talking about that we read over in the Psalm? It was talking about when Jesus came and died for the sins of the people. That he would call sacrifice. That's what Paul is telling you. You understand what I'm saying? Wherefore, when he cometh into the world, he said sacrifices and offering thou would not. Didn't he tell you everything that he believed? He got it out of the law and out of the prophets.
Yep.
So now where did this come from? He got it out of the prophets, didn't he?
Yep.
He got it right out of the 40th chapter of Psalm. But he's telling you what it's really about. He's telling you it was talking about the time when Jesus come that you would no more desire sacrifices and offerings. You wouldn't need to kill any animals no more because the real sacrifice has come now. Go ahead and read on.
Middle of verse 5.
Go ahead.
Sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me.
He said, but a body has thou prepared me. Skip down and read that 10th verse. Go ahead and read. No, keep on reading. Keep on reading.
He said, in burnt offering and sacrifice for sin thou hast had no pleasure.
When is this that the Lord wouldn't have no pleasure? It is when Jesus came and died. You wouldn't need to kill any animals anymore. Because now Jesus is the sin offering. You understand what I'm saying? So you don't need to kill any animal no more. You know, you don't need to go to the priest with your goat and kill it and sprinkle the blood and all of that. Now, Jesus is your sacrifice, and if you sin now, you just repent and fall down on your knees and ask the Lord to forgive you. Go ahead and read on.
Then said I, Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me.
Go ahead.
To do thy will, O God.
Go ahead.
Above, when he said, sacrifice and offering and burnt offering and offering for sin, thou wouldest not, neither hast pleasure therein, which are offered by the law. Then said he, Lo, I come to do thy will, O God. He take away the first, that he may establish the second.
Now, what was the first? That was the old covenant. So now when he came, he took away that first covenant that he may establish the second. And what was the second? That is the new covenant. As opposed to being under the blood of the animals, now you are under the blood of Jesus. Because without the shedding of blood, there is no remission of sin. Go ahead and read that next verse.
By the which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ once for all.
By which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ once for all. That is what he is. He is a sin offering. Then we read that in